Thank you, PID Jenny. You know, COVID-19 has really turned our world upside down. This is obviously not news to anyone, but it's important to acknowledge this reality and recognize that we can't just sit back and wait this thing out. Our communities need us right now. For our clubs to be able to meet those needs, we need to be able to meet and plan our service and to do so safely. Before we get too far into this, I think it's important to recognize that virtually all of us miss face-to-face human contact. But our new reality for the foreseeable future is that we must pivot to virtual or even hybrid meetings and events for our members' sake and our community's sake as well. Interestingly, when COVID hit, some clubs didn't even miss a beat. As a matter of fact, they're doing such a great job of meeting their community's needs that they're adding new members like crazy. These new members are allowing these clubs to provide even more service that's needed in this critical time. Unfortunately, the majority of our clubs are not in this boat. Many are not even meeting, let alone doing service. These clubs are losing members and dying off. Today's Michigan Lions Leadership Institute is all about helping us all learn to embrace our new Lion normal, serving in the virtual world. In our brief time together today, we're going to talk about online meetings, both virtual and hybrid. We'll explore some ways to overcome common challenges and ways to make your virtual meetings more fun. Since late March, I've had a lot of opportunities and learned a lot about running online meetings, hosting virtual parties, and conducting online trainings. Either alone or most often as part of a team, I've planned, hosted, or run over 100 of them. Some as small as having a handful of attendees, all the way up to 1,500 participants or more. From this experience, I can tell you that virtual meetings can be even more engaging than face-to-face meetings. It's all about encouraging attendee interaction. There are two types of meetings you need to be familiar with as we navigate our new normal. The first is the virtual meeting. This is where all the attendees are participating either by computer, cell phone, or landline in an online meeting. Today's Institute is the perfect example of a virtual meeting, with Lions logging in or calling in from all over the country. From a club or organizer standpoint, there's really no extra technology required. You just need an online meeting subscription to a service like Zoom, RingCentral, or GoToMeeting, or whichever you choose. Just a quick side note on online meeting subscriptions. Whatever online meeting service you choose, make sure it offers a call-in option so the members who can't log in can call in either on their cell phone or a landline. When it comes to setting these meetings up, you should know that virtual meeting agendas include all the elements of your face-to-face meeting, with amped up tail twister presence and other interactive games and elements. Your goal is really to replicate the feel of a face-to-face meeting whenever possible. Know that it takes a team to run your face-to-face meeting, and it's going to take a team and all the usual suspects to run your virtual meeting. That means your president's going to run the meeting, your secretary is going to take the minutes, your tail twister is going to add the fun, etc. The difference comes in that you're going to need at least one additional Lion to monitor the call and run the call itself. Let's call this Lion your Zoom commander. Your Zoom commander is going to be responsible for making sure all attendees are able to participate. This includes things like muting and unmuting participants, monitoring the chat and sharing chat comments as need be with the chair and the entire group, launching voting polls, creating breakout rooms, etc. Since this team comes together for this specific instance, I strongly recommend that you get your entire team together for a practice before you run your first virtual meeting. That way you know that everyone knows what their role is and is comfortable with how the technology is going to work and how they're going to interact. Last, but certainly not least, one of the most important elements of running a virtual meeting is patience and a sense of humor. I guarantee something is going to go wrong, and it's okay. The world is not going to end because you can't share a screen. Quite honestly, most of the time your attendees won't even know something went wrong. So just keep going. If it's an obvious challenge, acknowledge that there's a problem, then be prepared to either postpone until your next meeting or find another way to get the job done. A good example of this is with voting. Let's say you plan to run a poll to approve your minutes, and for some reason the polling wasn't working. Don't panic. You can have your members vote yay or nay in the chat window, or just take a verbal vote, or postpone it to the next meeting. All right, enough about virtual meetings for the moment. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about a hybrid meeting. So what is a hybrid meeting? These meetings have face-to-face as well as virtual participants, and they include all aspects of running a face-to-face meeting along with a virtual meeting at the same time. But they do offer a bit of a different twist because it's more challenging to keep the virtual attendees engaged unless you plan for it and are on top of it at all times. Quite honestly, you get in front of that podium and in front of a face-to-face audience, and sometimes it's easy to forget that you even have virtual attendees. So making sure you keep them in mind at all times is really important. It does take additional equipment at the face-to-face location to run a hybrid meeting. Let's run through those items. First of all, a stable internet connection. Without that, you can't run a hybrid meeting. Second, a dedicated laptop that's going to be logged into the Zoom meeting. Third, a separate microphone and speaker so that the online attendees can hear the face-to-face attendees and vice versa. And last but not least, this is kind of optional, but really is awesome and helps the interactive experience, is to have a projector or monitor running off of the main laptop for all to see so that people can see each other as they're participating face-to-face and online. We've only scratched the surface of all the ins and outs of running a virtual and hybrid meetings. There's a great deal of information on the internet and through whatever virtual meeting service you use on how to set up and run a virtual and hybrid meeting. You can also reach out to a member of the Institute Planning Committee or your district governor for some local support in running virtual and hybrid meetings. All that being said, let's get back to what it takes to implement virtual meetings. Quite honestly, it's really simple. You have to be willing to do it. I've talked to a lot of Lions and clubs in the past 8 months. The difference between the clubs that are thriving and those that are dying is a willingness to change. Change is hard. They say the corporate world has gone through 5 years of change in 6 months. For us in the Lions world, it's even more extreme. We've experienced like 10 years of change in just 6 months. Think about that. 10 years of change in 6 months is hard for anyone to comprehend, let alone volunteers who've never necessarily been in the virtual world. So here's a bit of good news. Logging in and staying connected with our families and friends has truly become the new normal for so many of us, which means that many of our members have gotten over the "it'll be a cold day before I ever" attitude. Even with that, change is scary. According to psychologists, one of the biggest obstacles to change is fear. Fear of being left behind or not being relevant in this new normal. It's our job as Lion leaders to create this virtual world that allows every member to participate. Then work with each member who needs help, one-on-one, to show them how they can participate by calling in or logging in so that they don't feel left behind and that they do feel relevant. Then if virtual truly isn't an option, make sure you set up a regular call or some other contact with that member who can't log in or call in to keep them informed and involved. It takes time and it takes planning, but you can help overcome your members' concerns. And you can help your members embrace the new normal. As one of those Lions who's been mentoring Lions and clubs from across the country, I can tell you that with a little patience and a little practice, there are Lions who could barely turn on a computer a year ago who are now training others on setting up and running virtual meetings. Their mantra is, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I'm going to repeat myself here. You don't have to be an expert at technology. You just have to be willing to try it. Help is literally just a phone call or email away. Here in Michigan, you can reach out to a member of the Institute Planning Committee or your district governor to tap into an amazing support network of Lions from across your multiple that are ready, willing, and able to work with you to ensure your success and that of your members. All you have to do is ask. So now that we're all excited to host virtual meetings, let's talk about how we make our virtual meetings fun and interactive. I saw a recent discussion on the Global Lions Forum Facebook group about whether Lions were comfortable with virtual meetings. The most common comment in that entire thread was, virtual meetings are boring. Friends, they don't have to be boring. There are so many opportunities to make your meetings fun and interactive. Let's start with the most basic piece, which is the chat window. Every one of the online meeting services has a chat function, an opportunity and option where people can type in comments and reach out to one another and chat back and forth. It kind of replaces that banter you would have at your table at your club meetings. Your Zoom commander can monitor this and help share the information out that's being shared in the chat to the rest of the group as necessary. The other person who's really responsible for the fun is your tail twister. His or her job becomes even more important in the virtual world. Coming up with theme nights, games, other interactive events is really important. Let's touch on a few of those and how you might implement them. Let's talk about themes. Crazy hair days, pajama parties, wear orange to fight hunger day, holiday themes. The possibilities are endless. Whatever it is, make sure the theme is, make sure that you announce it far enough advance that your members have the time to put their costumes together. And then during the call itself, make sure to give the attendees time to show off and explain their costumes. Here's a game. Let's call it the Get to Know Your Members game. So your tail twister sends an email to every member asking them to submit something about themselves that the other members don't know. The tail twister then at your next meeting selects one of those submissions and reads it at the meeting for all the attendees to guess which lion it is. Once a lion is identified, he or she tells their story, helping the members to get to know him or her better, and also having a lot of fun in the making. Contests. So much fun can be had with these, and you can do a variety of different contests. One week you could have a talent contest. Another week a karaoke contest. Perhaps your club likes to tell jokes, so you have a joke contest. Whatever it is, have a judging panel and have the panel judge who's the best and have the winner of the week of whatever that talent contest or karaoke or joke contest was. There's also trivia nights. Trivia contests are hugely popular. There's services like Kahoot that you can subscribe to, or you can just make up your own trivia contest on the side by Googling and find any number of questions that you might want to ask. Great fun and interaction. You can do that either as an individual person playing the trivia or send them into breakout rooms to help for a team building exercise. Let's talk about a game from our childhood that would be awesome for a club visit or club meeting, and that's scavenger hunts. All you got to do is have the tail twister pick 5 common household items, then give your members 5 minutes to bring all of them back to the call. While the hunt is on, play some fun music, do a little chair dancing, and the first lion back with all the items wins. Make sure to give some time at the end of this for people to talk about the fun and games that they had trying to find all those items in their house. One last piece here before we go on to the next item is raffles. Raffles are a staple of our face-to-face meetings, and they're easily brought into the virtual world with a site like wheelofnames.com. There are so many ideas out there by Googling, or even better yet, I strongly recommend your tail twister join the Lions Online Tail Twister group on Facebook. There's tail twisters from all over the world sharing new ideas on how to have fun in a virtual world each and every day. Once again, that was the Lions Online Tail Twister group on Facebook. Yes, it is a bit of a tongue twister. All right, one last thing before we open this up for a Q&A. There's a certain percentage of our members who are adamant that they will never participate in an online Lions Club meeting. Many of these same lions are feeling isolated and lonely. So why not help them overcome those feelings of loneliness by having your club host a virtual happy hour, morning coffee clutch, or other purely social event that allows them to just catch up with their friends? Not only will you help them feel less lonely and more connected, you'll help them get used to this online meeting and virtual meeting concept so that when it comes time for your next club meeting, they're more likely to be willing to participate. Hey, oh yeah, speaking of which, my husband and I and a team of awesome lions, including your own past international director, Jenny, host a weekly party at the Burmester virtual bar. There's a theme each week, and Lions from across the globe log in for trivia, chats with great Lions, and music to get us off our chairs and dancing and singing along. We would love to have you join us at one of these parties. The registration link for tonight's party is in the chat window, and you can find it each week on the Lions virtual Facebook page. With that, our time is up. I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes during these challenging times. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls and others build windmills. Let's build windmills and harness the power of kindness and service for our members and the communities we serve. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you today. You can find me at lionjodi@gmail.com or on Facebook at lionjodi Burmester.